Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you will be fine. In the last week lectures, we have discussed the problems with commutation and solutions to the problems with commutation. In this lecture, we will have a look at the internal generated voltage and induced torque equations of real DC machines. Like AC machines, there are two types of DC machines. The first one is DC motor and the second one is DC generator. There are some important factors in DC machines like commutation, as the commutation is the process in which internal generated AC is converted into DC. During commutation, that is during the process in which AC is converted into DC, there are some problems comes. These problems are armature reaction and L di/dt voltages, as we have already discussed in the last week lectures in detail. As you can see in this figure we have a lot of time discussed. This is the North Pole and this is the South Pole. The static part, that is North and South Pole, is called the stator of the machine. The rotating part of the DC machine is called the rotor. That is, this part is called the rotor and this part is called the stator. The winding across the static part of the DC machine is called field winding, and the winding across the rotating part of the machine is called the armature winding. As you can see in this figure, when the circuit will complete, then the current will flow across the armature winding. This current is called the armature current. Due to this current, armature flux will produce. The flux at the poles, that is at the north and south poles, linked with the armature flux. Due to this, force will produce. Due to this force, torque will applied on the machines that rotates the machines. The direction of rotation of the rotor can be clockwise or anti-clockwise, will depend on the direction of the force. The direction of the force will depend on the direction of the current. As we have already discussed, as we have already derived the induced torque equation in single loop, this is the single loop. The induced torque equation in single loop is tau induced is equal to 2/pi flux into I, where I is the current and phi is the flux and 2/pi is the constant factor. This is the equation in case of single loop. When we use single loop, then the induced torque equation is tau induced is equal to 2/pi flux into I. And the internal generated voltage equation in case of single loop is E induced is equal to 2/pi flux into omega, where omega is the angular speed and phi is the flux. This is the internal generated voltage equation in case of single loop. As you can see in this figure, this is the single loop. In case of single loop, the internal generated voltage equation is E induced is equal to 2/pi flux into omega. These equations of induced torque and induced voltages are due to single loop. In real DC machines, there are number of loops instead of single loop. For example, as you can see in this figure, there are 8 number of loops. This is the loop number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. there are 8 number of loops. In case of 8 number of loops, the equations of torque induced and voltage induced will be different as compared to the single loop. These equations are from single loop. And in case of real machines, the number of loops are more instead of single loop. For example, as you can see in this figure, there are 8 number of loops. In case of 8 number of loops, the equations of the torque induced and voltage induced will be different. As you can see in this figure, this is the north pole and this is the south pole. This is the static part of the machine. That is, this part is called the stator and the rotating part of the machine is called the rotor. The winding across the rotating part of the machine is called the armature winding, and the winding across the static part of the machine, that is across the north and south poles, is called the field winding. As you can see in this figure, in case of real machines, there are number of loops, there are number of coils, and this is called the number of commutator segments, and these are the brushes. In case of real machines, we use number of loops instead of single loop. As you can see in this figure, there are number of loops are connected with the commutator segments. In this lecture, we will have a look at how this torque produced in real DC machines and finds its equation. Also calculate the internal generated voltage equation in the DC machine. So let's get started with the internal generated voltage and torque induced equations of real DC machines. Now, first of all, we will discuss the internal generated voltage equation of real DC machines. That is, how can we calculate the internal generated voltage equation in case of real DC machines? As we know, in real DC machines, there are number of coils or number of loops instead of single loop. As there are 3 main factors over which DC machines voltage depends. As you can see in this figure, the first one is flux of the machine. As you can see in this equation, the relationship between flux and induced voltage is directly proportional. As you can see in this figure, flux is the magnetic fields from north to south, and the relationship between the induced voltage and flux is directly proportional. The second factor in which induced voltage depends on a rotation speed of the machine, that is omega. The relationship between induced voltage and omega is directly proportional. If the rotation speed of the machine will increase, then the induced voltage will increase as well. And the third factor is in which induced voltage depends constant depending on the construction of the machine. As you can see in this equation, where 2 over pi is the constant factor. When we change the constant, then the induced voltage will change as well. The constant is depending on the construction of the machine, that is the number of loops, number of poles, etc. As we know, the induced voltage in the single conductor is E is equal to VBL. As you can see in this figure, here is the single loop. There are 2 number of conductors, that is side AB is called the conductor number 1 and the side CD is called the conductor number 2. In every loop, in every turn, there are 2 number of conductors. As you can see in this figure, here the number of turns is 1. In case of single turn, there are two number of conductors. That is, one side of the loop or turn is called the conductor. The conductor number 1 is AB and the conductor number 2 is CD. As we know, the induced voltage in single conductor, that is across the conductor AB, is E is equal to VBL, where V is the velocity, B is the magnetic field and L is the length of the conductor. And the induced voltage of the other conductor, that is conductor number 2 across the CD, is E is equal to VBL as well. The overall voltages across the two conductors, that is across the conductor AB and CD, are E total is equal to 2 VBL. It means across the single conductor the induced voltage is VBL, and across the two conductors the induced voltages is E total is equal to 2 VBL. So before going to derivation, let us see an example so that we can understand the derivation of the internal generated voltage equation of real DC machines easily. As you can see in this figure, this is the basically 8 conductors. 4 conductors are under the north pole and 4 conductors are under the south pole. As we have already discussed, the one side of the loop is called the conductor. This is the single loop. In case of single loop, there are two conductors, conductor AB and conductor CD. Here the number of loops are 4. In case of 4 loops, the total number of conductors are 8. Here 4 conductors are under the north pole and 4 conductors are under the south pole. This winding is double layer winding. Double layer means in each slot there are two number of conductors. As you can see in this figure, this is the slot number 1. Here the one end of the loop number 1 is connected and one end of the loop number 3 is connected. If in single slot there are if in single slot number of conductors are 2, then the winding is called the double layer winding. Here the total number of slots are 4. This is the slot number 1, slot number 2, slot number 3 and slot number 4. Here the number of parallel paths are 2 because there are 2 brushes. In case of 2 brushes, number of parallel paths will be 2. In case of double layer winding, the number of parallel paths are equal to the number of brushes, as we have already discussed. In case of lap winding, the number of parallel paths will be equal to the number of brushes. As the electrical equivalent to this particular diagram, we have already drawn. So the electrical equivalent, this was here the two number of brushes. As you can see in this figure, there are two number of brushes. This is the brush number 1 and this is the brush number 2. That's why number of parallel paths will be 2 as well. That is, 4 conductors will be across the path 1 and 4 conductors will be across the path number 2. Here the total EMF will be 4E. As we know, in case of single conductor, the internal generated voltage is E is equal to VBL. E is equal to VBL. The voltage across the 4 conductors will be E is equal to 4E or E is equal to 4 VBL. There are 4 conductors will be across the path 1 and 4 conductors will be across the path number 2. But these do not want to add up. Here the total voltages will not be 8E because these are the parallel connections. As we know, in case of parallel, the voltage will remain same. Here the number of parallel paths are 2. Across the path 1, the voltages are 4E, and the path 2, the voltages are 4E as well. In case of parallel, the voltage remains same. That's why the EMF across the brushes will be 4E instead of 8E, because there are two parallel paths. As you can see in this figure, there are two parallel paths. In case of parallel, the voltage remains same. If the voltage across the path number 1 is 4E, then the voltage across path number 2 will be 4E as well. And the overall voltage across the brushes will be 4E as well. As you can see in this figure, where 4 is the number of conductors per path. This is the conductor number 1, conductor number 2, conductor number 3 and conductor number 4. The number of conductors per parallel path is equal to 4. And as we know, the internal generated voltage across each conductor is E is equal to VBL, and across the 4 conductors will be E is equal to 4 VBL. As the EMF is equal to the total number of conductors per parallel path. This relationship is very important. There are two important points. The first one is the induced voltage is equal to the total number of conductors per parallel path. That is, the equation of voltage is equal to total number of conductors per parallel path, that is per single path. As you can see in this figure, there are 4 number of conductors, because there are 2 number of parallel paths, and each path the number of conductors will be 4. That's why the induced voltage is equal to the total number of conductors per path, and E is the induced voltage in single conductor, where E is the, as we know, the internal generated voltage across a single conductor is E is equal to VBL, and where E is the induced voltage across the single conductor. It means this equation tells us just multiply the voltage across the single conductor with the number of conductors, where E is the voltage across the single conductor and 4 is the total number of conductors. So now let us generalize these things. Now let us take a DC machine. It has a Z number of conductors. As we have already discussed, in case of DC machines, the formula of the total number of conductors is Z is equal to 2Cn, where C is the number of coils and N is the number of turns. By using this formula, we can calculate the total number of conductors in real DC machines, and the number of parallel path is equal to A. The number of parallel path will depend on the type of the winding. As you can see in this figure, here the number of parallel paths are 2. In case of 2 parallel paths, then the value of A will be 2 as well. And omega is the angular speed. The unit of the omega is radian per second. Now, the EMF produced in the single conductor is E is equal to VBL, which is under in one particular pole. Can be under the north pole or can be under the south pole. In case of single loop, the number of turns can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700, 1000. As you can see in this figure here, this is the single coil. That is, this is the starting point and this is the ending point. The coil is in each coil there is a single starting point and single ending point. Here, as you can see in this figure, there are two number of turns. This is the turn number 1 and this is the turn number 2. It means here the coil, the value of C is 1 and the number of turns are 2. And the total number of conductors are 4. This is the conductor number 1, conductor number 2, 3 and 4. If there is a single turn, then the conductors in single loop will be 2. If there are 2 turns in single conductor loop, then the number of conductors will be 4 and so on. As we have already defined, induced voltage, as we have already discussed, induced voltage is equal to number of conductors per parallel path into the voltage induced into single conductor. As you can see in this formula, as we have already discussed, E is equal to 4E, where 4 is the number of conductors per parallel path and E is the induced voltage across the single conductor. Therefore, E is equal to induced voltage is equal to, in case of real machines, is equal to number of conductors per parallel path multiplied by the induced voltage in one conductor. As we know, number of conductors is equal to Z. Z means number of conductors, and parallel path is equal to A. Parallel path is equal to A, and the voltage across the single conductor is VBL. Therefore, the induced voltage E is equal to Z over A into VBL, where Z is the number of conductors and A is the total number of parallel paths. V is the velocity, B is the magnetic field, and L is the length of the conductor. The rotation speed of every conductor is given as V is equal to R omega. In this equation, R is the radius, as you can see in this figure. R is the radius and omega is the angular speed. Putting the value of V in this equation, we get as E is equal to Z over A into VBL. Putting the value of V in this equation, we get E is equal to Z into, as we know, V is equal to R omega. Putting the value of V is equal to R omega, here we get E is equal to Z into R omega BL over A. As we know, the area of the rotor is like cylinder, is written as A is equal to 2 pi R L, because the shape of the rotor is like cylinder. So that's why area of the rotor is A is equal to 2 pi R L. Here the two number of poles. If we want to find the area of single pole, then the area per pole will be equal to 2 pi R L over number of poles. If we divide the area of cylinder with number of poles, then we can calculate the area per pole. So that's why area per pole AP is equal to 2 pi RL over P. As we know, flux is equal to B into A. And putting the value of A in this equation, we get flux is equal to, here the value of A is 2 pi RL over P. Putting the value of A in this equation, we get flux is equal to 2 pi RL over P into B. This is the equation of the flux. Here just we put the value of A in this equation. We get flux is equal to 2 pi RL over P into B. As we know, flux is equal to BA. Putting the value of flux here, we get BA is equal to 2 pi RL over P into B. Here B will be cancelled out, and the value of RL, if we want to find the value of RL here, then the value of RL will be equal to AP divided by 2 pi. As you can see here, if we want to find the value of RL from this equation, the value of RL from in this equation will be RL is equal to A and P will be multiplied and 2 pi will be divided. RL will be equal to AP over 2 pi. Putting the value of RL from this equation into this equation. As you can see in this equation, there are R and L both are exist. Putting the value of RL as RL is equal to AP over 2 pi, putting the value of RL in this equation, we get E is equal to ZP omega m BA over 2 pi A. Here just we put the value of RL. As you can see in this equation R and L both are exist. Putting the value of RL is equal to AP into P over 2 pi, in this equation we get E is equal to ZP omega m BA over 2 pi into A. As we know, flux is equal to BA. Putting the value of BA is equal to flux, in this equation we get E is equal to ZP over 2 pi A into flux into omega, where omega is the angular speed, phi is the flux, and this factor is the constant factor, where Z is the number of conductors, P is the number of poles, and A is the number of parallel paths. Let the constant factor is equal to K. Then therefore E is equal to K phi into omega m, where K is equal to Zp over 2 pi A. The final equation of the internal generated voltage in case of real machine is E is equal to K phi into omega, where omega is the angular speed, phi is the flux, and K is the constant factor, as K is equal to Zp over 2 pi over A. We can change the constant factor by changing the number of conductors or number of parallel paths or number of poles. We can change these parameters at the construction of the DC machines. This is the final equation of the internal generated voltage in case of real machine. In industries, the rotation speed of machines is measured in revolution per minute instead of radian per second. Here the speed is in radian per second, but in industries, the rotation speed of DC machines is measured in revolution per minute. As we know, the relationship between revolution per minute and radian per second is omega is equal to 2 over pi over 60 into n, where the unit of n is revolution per minute and the unit of omega is radian per second. Putting the value of omega in this equation, we get E is equal to, as we know, this equation is equal to E is equal to Zp over 2 pi A flux into omega. Putting the value of omega in this equation, we get E is equal to Zp over 2 pi A into flux into 2 pi over 60 into Nm. Just putting the value of omega in this equation, where 2 pi and 2 pi will be cancelled out. The remaining equation will be Zp over 60A into flux into N. The unit of N is revolution per minute. This is the equation of internal generated voltage of real machines in case of revolution per minute speed. If the speed is given in revolution per minute, then we use this formula By using this formula, we can calculate the internal generated voltage of real DC machines. If the speed is given in radian per second, then we can use this formula. By using this formula, we can calculate the internal generated voltage of real DC machines in case of angular speed is in radian per second. This equation is used when the speed is given in revolution per minute. Now the constant factor is changed little bit as compared to this. Now the constant factor is Zp over 60A. Let K dash is equal to Zp over 60A, as K is equal to Zp over 2 pi A. So that's why we change the sign of K, because K, the constant factor, is changed here. Let K dash is equal to Zp over 60A. Therefore the final equation becomes E is equal to K dash flux into N, where N is the speed in revolution per minute, phi is the flux, and K dash is the constant factor, and the value of the K dash is equal to Zp over 60A. By using this equation, we can find the internal generated voltage in case of real DC machines. Now, we will discuss the induced torque equation of real DC machines. As the induced torque in single loop is tau induced is equal to 2 over pi flux into I. Now, clearly you can see in this equation, torque is the function of current and flux as well. This is the torque induced equation in case of single loop. As we have already discussed, in case of real machines, there are number of loops. Now, we will find the induced torque equation of real DC machines, and this is the equation of single loop. In case of real DC machines, there are number of loops or number of conductors. As the induced torque in DC machines depends on three main factors. The first one is flux of the machines. Flux is the magnetic field from north to south. As you can see in this equation, the relationship between induced torque and flux is directly proportional. By increasing the flux, that is by increasing the magnetic fields from north to south, we can increase the induced torque. And the second factor is the armature current IA in the machine. As you can see in this equation, the relationship between armature current and induced torque is directly proportional. By increasing the current, that is by increasing the current across the armature, here I is the current across the armature winding, across this loop. This is the current across this loop current is called the armature current. If we increase the current across this loop, then the induced torque will be increased as well, because the relationship between induced torque and current is directly proportional. And the third factor is constant depending on the construction of the machine. And third factor is the constant. By changing the constant, we can change the induced torque value, as you can see in this equation. Before starting the derivation of the induced torque equation of real DC machines, now a particular thing here. So the torque, as far as is concerned, there are two types of the torque. First one is induced torque and the second one is load torque. The torque which we are demanding due to load, when we connect the load across the armature winding, the torque which we are demanding due to load is called the load torque. In order to meet the load torque, based on the current, the motor will induce a torque based on the current. In order to meet the load torque, the motor internally will generate the torque based on the current across the armature winding. That is called the induced torque. There are two types of the torque, induced torque and load torque. The difference between the induced torque and load torque should be clear as well. Load torque means when we connect the load across the armature, due to this load we are demanding a torque. This torque is called the load torque. In order to meet the demand, the motor will induce a torque. The motor will induce internally a torque based on the current. The current which flow across the armature winding. So this torque is called the induced torque. The inducing torque is developed inside the machine. If the induced torque and load torque are equal, then the speed of rotation will be constant. If the induced torque and load torque will be equal, then the speed of rotation will be constant. If the induced torque is greater than the load torque, then the motor will be accelerate. That is, motor will move more quickly. If the induced torque will be greater than the load torque. If the induced torque will be less than the load torque, then the motor will be decelerate. It means motor will move slowly. In case of constant speed, the induced torque will be equal to the load torque. Now we will discuss the derivation of the induced torque equation of real DC machines. That is, how to find out the torque in the real DC machines. As we know, in case of single conductors, the induced torque equation is tau induced is equal to RILB. As you can see in this figure, there are two number of conductors. Here the number of loop is 1. In case of one loop, the one side of the loop is called the conductor. There are two number of conductors. The torque in case of single conductor is, that is across the conductor AB, is RILB. The total torque across the two conductors will be tau induced is equal to 2RILB. As in DC machines, there are number of conductors. The formula of the total number of conductors is Z is equal to 2Cn, where C is the number of coils and N is the number of turns. And the number of parallel path is equal to A. As we know, the force for one conductor is, that is, the force across the single conductor is F is equal to ILB, where I is the current across the single conductor, L is the length of the conductor, and B is the magnetic field. As we know, torque across the single conductor is equal to R into force across the single conductor, where R is the radius. As we know, the force across the single conductor is equal to ILB. Putting the value of force in this equation, we get torque across the single conductor. Torque across the single conductor is equal to RILB. The important point is here, the current is here is the current across the single conductor. As you can see in this figure, there are 8 number of conductors. This is the torque equation across the single conductor. This is the conductor number 1. This is the torque equation across the single conductor will be RILB, and here the current will be across the single conductor. As we know, the current in case of DC machines, we just know the total current. If we find the current across the single conductor, then just divided by the total current by total number of parallel path. I conductor will be equal to IA over A, where A is the parallel path. For example, let there are two parallel paths and the total number of conductors are 8. In path 1, the total number of conductors will be 4, and in part 2, the total number of conductors will be 4 as well. In case of DC machines, we measure the total current, that is current across the armature. But in case of calculation, we need the current across the single conductor. If we find the current across the single conductor, just divided the total current by total number of parallel path. As you can see in this equation, I conductor is equal to total current divided by number of parallel path. If the number of parallel paths are 2, then the value of A will be 2. Putting the value of A in this equation, we get the current across the single conductor. Therefore, torque induced is equal to Ri into BL. As we know, I conductor is equal to Ia over A. Putting the value of I conductor in this equation, we get tau across the single conductor is equal to Ria over A. Ia means armature current. Ri Lb over A, where A is the parallel path. As you can see in this diagram, there are two parallel paths. Parallel path will depend on the type of the winding. If the parallel path, by dividing the number of parallel paths, we can find the torque across the single conductor. This equation is the torque induced equation across the single conductor. As we know, in case of real DC machines, there are number of conductors. Therefore, tau total is equal to, in case of real DC machines, Z into tau across the single conductor, where Z is the number of conductors. If the number of conductors are 100, then we just multiply by the 100 by the single conductor torque. This is the single conductor torque. We just multiply. In case of real machines, there are number of conductors. In case of real, we find here the induced torque equation of real DC machines. That's why torque total will be equal to total number of conductors into torque induced across the single conductor. Putting the value of torque across the single conductor in this equation, we get tau total is equal to ZRILB over A. As we know, the torque across the single conductor is equal to RILB over A. Putting the value of torque across the single conductor in this equation, we get tau total is equal to ZRILB over A. As we know, the shape of the rotor is in the form of a cylinder, as you can see in this figure. The area of the cylinder is A is equal to 2 pi r L. If we want to find the area of the single pole, the area of the single pole will be equal to A is equal to 2 pi r L over number of poles. If we divide the total area by number of poles, then we can get the area of the single pole. As we know, flux is equal to B into A, and the value of A is equal to 2 pi r L over P. Putting the value of A in this equation, we get 2 pi r L over P into B. And we can find the value of RL from this equation here. The value of RL is equal to A P over 2 pi. Putting the value of RL in this equation, we get, as you can see in this equation, here R and L both are exist. Putting the value of RL, as you can see in this equation, the value of RL is equal to AP over 2 pi. Putting the value of RL in this equation, we get tau total is equal to ZP over 2 pi A into flux into IA, where I is the armature current, phi is the flux, Z is the number of conductors, P is the number of poles and A is the number of parallel current paths. Let K is equal to Zp over 2 pi A. By putting the value of K in this equation, we get tau total is equal to K phi into Ia. K is equal to Zp over 2 pi into A. By using this equation, we can find the total torque induced in real DC machines. The total torque induced in real DC machine depends on the three factors. The first one is the current across the armature, that is current across the rotor. Phi is the flux means the north and south, and K is the constant. Constant depends on the number of conductors of the armature, number of poles across the stator, and number of parallel paths across the armature winding. By changing these values, we can change the value of constant at the time of the construction of the DC machines. After designing the DC machines, then we can't change the constant factor. Then we can change only the value of the flux and the value of the armature current. So by using this equation, we can calculate the total torque in case of real machines. Both the internal generated voltage and the torque equations just given are only approximations. The value of the internal generated voltage in case of real DC machines and the induced torque in case of real machines are only the approximations. By using this formula, we only calculate the approximate value of the induced voltage and the induced torque. Because not all the conductors, as you can see in this equation, we put the value of Z here, the total number of conductors. Because not all the conductors in the machine are under the pole faces at any given time. As you can see in this figure, there are 8 number of coils. 3 coils are under the north pole and 3 coils are under the south pole. Here the 2 coils are between the north and south pole. But in this formula, we use the total number of conductors. That is, we assume that all the conductors are at a time under the north and south pole. But in real DC machines, there are some conductors at any given time. Maybe at these conductors, there are some conductors across the north and south pole at any given time. The conductors which are between the north and south pole will not generate the EMF. But here in these formulas, we use the total number of conductors. We assume that all the conductors are generating or producing the voltage or generating or producing the torque. That's why these equations just given are only approximations. To achieve the great accuracy, the number of conductors, if we want to achieve the more accuracy, then the number of conductors, that is, as you can see in this equation Z, the number of conductors under the pole faces could be used. The number of under the pole faces could be used instead of total number of conductors. That is, instead of the total number of conductors, here we use the total number of conductors. If we want to achieve the greater accuracy, the total number of conductors under the pole faces could be used. Here the 3 conductors are under the north pole and 3 conductors are under the south poles. Instead of the total number of conductors, we can use the number of conductors under the pole faces to achieve the greater accuracy. So we can achieve the greater accuracy by using the total number of conductors under the pole faces. If we not use the total number of pole faces instead of the total conductors, then the accuracy may be less. The accuracy of the voltage and induced torque will depend on the total number of conductors which we are using. Now we will solve a simple numerical to understand all these concepts in much better fashion. Always numerical are very important to reinforce the concepts that you are learning in the theory. So the numerical is a duplex lap winding. The first given parameter is the duplex lap winding. As we know, in case of duplex winding, the ending and starting point, the difference between the commutator segment of any single loop will be 2. As you can see in this figure, the starting end of the loop is connected across the commutator segment 1 and the ending end of the loop number 1 is connected across the commutator segment number 3. The difference between the ending and starting point is 2. If the difference is 2, then the winding is called duplex. Here the winding in this numerical is given duplex lap winding. And the total number of poles are 6. There are 6 poles are given. This is pole number 1, pole number 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I have already drawn the diagram to understand these parameters. The total number of poles in DC machines are 6 in this numerical. The winding type of the winding is duplex lap winding and the total number of poles are 6. And the total number of brushes are 6 as well. Here the total number of brushes are 6 and each brush, the width of each brush is spanning across the 2 commutator segments. In case of duplex winding, the spanning or the width of each brush will be same as the 2 commutator segments. In case of simplex, the width of brush will be across the single commutator segment. And in case of duplex winding, the width of the brush will be same as across the 2 commutator segment width. Here the total number of brushes in the problem are given in the numerical is given 6. There are total number of coils or number of loops are 72. Let this is the loop number 1, loop number 2, 3 and so on. The total number of loops are given 72. In this particular problem, the total number of loops or number of coils are 72. This is the loop number 1. This is the loop number 2, this is the loop and so on. The total number of loops are 72. So the total number of loops are 72 in this problem, each containing 12 turns. It means each loop, as you can see in this figure, there is only 1 turn. In this problem, there are 72 number of loops. Each loop contains 12 turns. It means this is the starting point of the loop and this is the ending point of the loop. Here the number of turns are 12 in each loop. Each loop 12 times repeat. The total number of turns are 12 in each loop. Is the number of turns is equal to 12 per coil. There are total 72 coils. Each coil consists of 12 number of turns. That is, the value of n is given 12. The flux per pole in the machine is given here. Phi is equal to 0.039. The value of the flux is given at here is 0.039 and the machine spins or rotate at 400 revolution per minute. The speed of the rotation of the rotor is 400 revolution per minute. It means the value of the speed is given here in revolution per minute instead of radian per second, and the value of the speed is 400 revolution per minute. 400 times in 1 minute the rotor will cover the 360 degree. These are the given parameters. The diagram is not given. I have just drawn here to understand completely the given data. The first part is, the question is, how many parallel current paths are there in this machine? As we know, in case of lap winding, as we have already discussed, in case of lap winding, the number of parallel paths A is equal to M into P, where P is the number of poles and M is the flux. That is, M is the difference between the starting and ending point of any single coil. In case of duplex lap winding, here the winding is given duplex. As we know, in case of duplex winding, the difference between the commutator segments will be 2. That is, if the starting end is connected across the commutator segment 1, then the ending point will be connected to across the commutator segment number 3. Here the difference between the commutator segment is 2. In case of 2, the winding is called the duplex winding. The difference is called the flux. Here the value of M will be 2. Therefore, putting the value of M is equal to 2, and here the total number of poles are given in this particular problem are 6. The total number of poles are 6. Putting the value of P in this equation, we get the total number of parallel paths is equal to 12. This is the part A. Now, we will discuss the part B. The part B of this problem is, what is its induced voltage EA? In part B, the question is, what is its induced voltage EA? That is, what is the value of the induced voltage in the given problem? If there are 72 number of coils, each coil consists of 12 turns, winding is duplex, number of poles are 6, and the value of the flux is 0.039, then what will be the value of the induced voltage? That is, we want to find the value of the induced voltage EA. As we know, in case of real machines, EA is equal to K dash phi into N M. We use here N instead of omega because in the problem the speed is given in revolution per minute instead of radian per second. That's why we use this formula, EA is equal to K dash phi into NM, where K dash is equal to ZP over 60A, as we have already derived. The value of K dash is equal to ZP over 60A, and in this equation the number of poles are given 6, A are the total number of parallel paths are 12, and Z is the total number of conductors. The total number of conductors we can calculate by using the formula Z is equal to 2Cn, where C is the number of coils, N is the number of turns. Putting the value of C and N in this equation, we get the number of coils are given here 72, and the total number of turns in each coil are 12. Putting the value of C and N in this equation, we get the value of C is 72 and the value of N is 12. Multiplied by 272 and 12, we get 1728 conductors. The total number of conductors in this particular problem are 1728. Now, putting the value of number of conductors, number of poles and number of parallel paths in this equation, we get K dash is equal to 1728. The value of Z is 1728 and the value of P is 6 divided by 60 into the value of A is 12. By solving this equation, we get the value of K dash is equal to 14.4. Now, putting the value of K dash in this equation, we get E induced is equal to K dash phi into Nm. The value of K dash is 14.4 and the value of the flux is given in this particular problem is 0.039 and the value of N is given here 400 revolution per minute. Putting the value of phi and N in this equation, we get 0.039 and the value of N is 400 revolution per minute. Multiplied by 14.4, 0.039 and 400, we get the induced voltage is equal to 224.6 volt. This is the value of the induced voltage in case of real machines. EA is equal to 224.6 volt. This is the numerical number 1. Now we will solve another numerical. The numerical number 2 is a 12 pole. Now the total number of poles are given 12. That is, value of P here is 12. A 12 pole DC generator has a simplex wave winding. Now the type of winding is wave winding. The winding is given here is simplex wave winding, as we have already studied about the simplex wave winding. Now in this particular problem, the type of winding is given simplex wave winding and the total number of poles are 12 and the total number of coils are 144. Now the total number of coils or number of loops are 144. This is the loop number 1, this is the loop number 2 and so on, and this is the loop number 144. The total number of coils or number of loops are 144 and each loop consists of 10 turns. The total number of turns in each loop is 12. As you can see here, the value of the N is given here. The value of the N is in this particular problem is given here, the 10. It means the total number of coils are 144 and each coil consists of 10 turns. The resistance of each turn, the value of the resistance is given. Resistance per turn is equal to 0.011. The resistance of each turn here is given here 0.011. Here the total number of coils are 144. Each coil consists of 10 turns. The resistance of each turn is R is equal to 0.011. Its flux per pole is equal to 0.05. The value of the flux is given here due to north and south pole. Due to the flux per pole is given here 0.05 and it turning at a speed of 200 revolution per minute. The speed of rotation is given here, Nm is equal to 200 revolution per minute. Now the part A is how many current paths are there in this machine. As we know, in case of wave winding, the formula of parallel current paths are A is equal to 2n, where the value of n is 1 because the winding type is simplex In case of simplex winding, the value of m will be 1. In case of duplex winding, the value of m will be 2. Here the winding type is simplex wave winding. As we know, in case of simplex wave winding, the formula of the parallel current path is A is equal to 2m, where the value of m is 1. Putting the value of m in this equation, we get 2 into 1 is equal to 2. It means there are two number of parallel paths. That is, the value of A is 2. The part B of this problem is, what is the induced armature voltage of this machine? That is, what is the value of EA in this machine? As we know, EA is equal to K dash phi into Nm. The value of N is given here 200 revolution per minute, and the value of flux is given here 0.05. As we know, K dash is equal to Zp over 60A, where Z is the total number of conductors. As we know, Z is equal to 2Cn, where C is the number of coils and N is the number of turns. Here the C number of coils are given here 144 and the value of N is given here 10. Putting the value of C and N in this equation, we get the value of C is 144 and the value of N is 10. Multiplied by 2, 144 and 10, we get Z is equal to 2880 conductors. That is, the total number of conductors are 2880. And the total number of parallel paths in this particular problem are 2. Putting the value of Z and 2 in this equation, we get K dash is equal to 2880. The number of conductors are given are here 2880. The number of poles are given here 12. Putting the value of P in is equal to 12, and the number of parallel paths are here 2. Multiplied and divided by these values, we get K dash is equal to 288. The value of K dash here is 288. Therefore, now the putting of value of K dash, phi and N in this equation, we get EA is equal to, the value of K dash here is 288 and the value of flux is given in this particular problem is 0.05 and the value of revolution speed is 200 revolution per minute. Multiplied by 288, 0.05 and 200, we get 2880 volt. 2880 volt. That is, the value of internal generated voltage in this particular problem is 2880 volt. Now we will solve the part C. What is the effective armature resistance of these machines? That is, what is the value of R effective? Now we will solve the part C. That is, we will find the value of effective resistance of this machine. As we know, the total number of conductors here are Z is equal to 2880. There are two number of parallel paths, as we have already found. The number of parallel paths are 2. The number of conductors in single path, the total number of conductors are Z is equal to 2880. These are the total number of conductors. Here the number of parallel paths are 2. The number of conductors in single path will be the number of conductors in single path Z in across the single path will be equal to the Z divided by total number of parallel paths are 2 is equal to 2880 divided by 2 is equal to 1440. The total number of conductors across the single path are 1440. As we know, 1 turn is equal to 2 conductors. As you can see in this figure, this is the single turn. The total number of conductors in single turns are 2. Here the total number of conductors are 1440. The number of turns will be number of turns per path will be equal to 1440 divided by parallel path is equal to divided by is equal to 720 turns. These are the turns across the single path. The resistance of the single turn is given here. Resistance per turn is equal to the resistance per path is equal to the total number of turns here are 720 and the resistance of the single turn is given here. As you can see in here, the resistance of the single turn is given as 0.01. The total number of turns in single path are 720. The resistance of single turn is 0.011. Multiplied by 720 and 0.011, we get 7.92 ohm. Now we will find the effective resistance. The effective resistance or effective is equal to the total resistance per path 7.92 divided by 2 divided by the total number of parallel path is equal to 3.96 ohm. That is, R effective is equal to 3.96 ohm. This is the value of R effective resistance. Now we will solve the last part of this particular problem. The last part is, if a 1K resistor is connected to the terminal of this machine, if the 1K resistance, here the value of R is given 1 kilo ohm. If the 1K resistance is connected to the terminals of this machine, what is the resulting induced counter torque? Then what will be the value of tau induced? As we know, in case of real machine, the formula of torque induced is tau induced is equal to K phi into IA. As we know, I is equal to V over R. The value of V is given here. The value of the V is given here, as we have already calculated in the part number 2. The value of V is, the value of E is 2880 divided by the total resistance. Here the value of the resistance is 1000. We get, divided by 2880 into 1000, we get IA is equal to 2.88 ampere. That is, the value of current here is 2.88 ampere. Putting the value of I in this equation, we get tau induced is equal to, now the value of K is, in this formula, K is equal to Z P over 2 pi A. Putting the value of Z, P and 2 pi and A in this equation, we get the total number of conductors we have already calculated. Z is equal to 2880 and the number of poles are given here 12. The number of parallel paths, as we have calculated in part A, are 2. Multiplied and divided by these values, we get k is equal to 2750.3. 2750.3, the value of k in this equation. Putting the value of k and I in this equation, we get tau induced is equal to 2750.3. The value of phi is given in this particular problem is 0.05, and the value of IA is given here 2.88. Multiplied by these values, we get tau induced is equal to 396 Newton per meter. 396 Newton meter. This is the total torque will induce in this particular problem when we connect a 1K resistor. These are the questions for assignment you will submit after 1 week. There are 2 questions. This is the question number 1. The question number 1 is draw the lap winding diagram. Draw the lap winding diagram of DC machines based on the following parameters. The question number 1 is you will draw the diagram of lap winding in which the total number of loops will be 18, the total number of poles will be 4, and the winding type is progressive duplex lap winding. These parameters should be included in this particular problem. That is, this problem is simple. Draw the lap winding diagram. In case of lap winding, the total number of loops are in this particular problem are 18, the number of poles are 4, and the winding type is progressive duplex lap winding. And the question number 2 is draw the wave winding diagram. The solution is just 1-page diagram. Just draw the diagram in 1 page. And similarly, the question number 2, same as the question number 1, here draw the wave winding diagram. Here you will draw the diagram of lap winding, and here you will draw the diagram of wave winding of DC machines based on the following parameters. Here the number of loops will be 11, the number of poles will be 4, and the winding type is progressive simplex wave winding. These parameters should be included in the diagram. You will submit this diagram through, you will submit the scan copy of this diagram through email or WhatsApp me in the time of this assignment is 1 week. That's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss the construction of the DC machines and the losses of the DC machines.